Hi everyone, it's Warren here from Overexposed 360 again. There's been so many new games on the PlayStation VR and new updates that we're doing another Dad's Play, Let's Play, First Play. So today we're going to check out the VR component of TrackMania Turbo. For those who have played TrackMania Turbo before, you know that it's unlike any other racing game that's on the market. It's not about the perfect driving line. It's not, well, it is, but in a different type of way. It's not about doing laps and laps of the same circuit. It's about crazy driving. So the best way to describe what TrackMania Turbo is like is almost like you're driving a roller coaster that is off its rails. You'll be doing 360 loops. You'll be driving up and down walls like gravity doesn't exist. You'll be flying off the walls like a half pipe on a skateboard, except you're in a car. And that is why I'm so looking forward to play this in VR. So you can see from the video, the graphics are sensational. It's actually really surprisingly good. It looks exactly like the original game, except it's just in the VR headset. I mean, there's still a few things that's odd, like the fact that you can't get into the cockpit mode unless you're doing the trick driving, like doing the loops and driving up walls and whatnot, which it will dynamically change from the third person view from behind the car into the cockpit mode. But it's just odd that it doesn't allow you to select the cockpit mode by default, which the original game actually does. So somehow the VR portion of the game does not allow you to change the in-game view, except for when it does it dynamically, which is a shame, because when you're driving in the VR mode, driving behind the car is kind of a bit of an odd feel. I mean, you can look around the car, it's almost like you're hovering over the car. You still get a sensational speed, you still get the same movement and motion, but it's when it dynamically shifts in the cockpit mode and you're actually driving from within the cockpit mode, that's when you actually feel your stomach drop. That's when you actually feel like you're feeling the G's when you're driving up the walls. I mean, there are times when it feels like my head is getting pushed down. I have to keep lifting my head up to look over the kind of driving position, because somehow it keeps shifting down because I'm being pushed down with the G's that is forced on me, which obviously it's not, but that's what it feels like. So I do hope that they do put another patch in which allow you to change to cockpit mode for all times, because that would really enhance that experience so much more. The other thing that I personally, did not feel sick at all. I didn't get any motion sickness with it, which I thought I would, because TrackMania being the game that it is, I almost feel sick when I'm playing it on the TV. So I'm really surprised that in VR it just feels so natural, and the graphics is moving at probably 60 frames a second in order for the smoothness to keep up, so that you don't get a sickness. I don't know that for sure. But it feels really smooth and it feels really good driving in it. Yeah, the feeling that some people get in Drive Club, I don't think you get in here, which is odd, because this is so much more extreme in the terms of how you're throwing the car around compared to Drive Club. Again, for people that hasn't played TrackMania Turbo before, all the tracks are really short. Some of the tracks will last no more than 10 seconds or 20 seconds to complete, which again is probably a good thing for VR, because you just focus on playing those tracks. You try to improve your time, trying to get the gold medal, trying to get higher rankings in the world, in your country, in your regions, and you basically do the same track over and over again. And just that short burst of gaming, it's quite suited to VR, because you can just get over and done with, pull your head set off if you're tired. Whereas if you're doing laps and laps of the same thing, I can imagine that will be quite stressful on your eyes if it's a really long continuous gameplay. Another thing that I must note, that unfortunately the patch for the VR gameplay in TrackMania Turbo does not apply to every single track that is in TrackMania. So I think there's over 200 tracks that's actually built into the game. It's only opened up 40 for VR play, which is not a small amount, but the tracks being so short as they are, I finished basically all the tracks in less than an hour and a half type of gameplay. I had great fun playing it, but it just leave me wanting a lot more. I'm hoping that they would actually make more tracks available for VR. I'm happy to play for DLC to get more tracks. And I think that some of the more mundane track where it's just sliding around, they can leave those. I want all the extreme tracks where you're driving up the walls and sliding around the corners and doing the loops. They are the ones that really showcase VR and TrackMania for what it's worth. So I'm sure that you can probably gather that I'm loving this game, and I highly recommend everyone to try it. For those who have got TrackMania Turbo, it's a no-brainer. Just download the patch and you've got the VR component. So it's fantastic that the developers have just patched up the game for as a bonus for people that already own the game. Would I recommend someone to buy the game, especially for the VR component? If you're not into TrackMania itself, then you're buying very little content. The 40 tracks may sound a lot, but as I said, each track may be 30 seconds long, so it won't take you long to really play through it. There's a lot of replay value in it, I would say, because I have played certain tracks over and over again just to get that feeling and try to beat that time a little bit and try to get that perfect corners and perfect slide around a certain area. And it's great fun trying to beat those. And the game for the TV or the 2D game is sensational as well, so I highly recommend that as well. But for those who are not keen on playing a game like this, then I wouldn't buy it just for the VR component. I think there's actually a demo that you can download for the VR component, so maybe the best bet is download that, give that a go and see how you think and how you go with it. And if you really like it, then it's really try to see whether you want to play the 2D version of the game, and if you do, then maybe make the purchase. And it's actually a great party game because you can actually play 4-player player on the same screen in the 2D mode, not in the VR mode, and it's actually fantastic for when you have friends around or your kids have friends around. So the VR portion of the game is by no means perfect. As I mentioned earlier, it doesn't allow you to have that cockpit mode as a standard. Is a bit odd, and I still hope that they will release that. The game is a little bit short, as I just mentioned, and also there's a few bugs in there. There's one level that it just refused to let me go into the either the cockpit mode or the behind the car mode, so it's kind of left me viewing from on top of a mountain. You can see the whole track, and you kind of have to drive I don't know, probably 300 meters away from the car, or a kilometer, I don't know what the perspective is, which was a bit odd. But apart from that, for a game that I already have, and it's just a patch that came through with this component, it's really, really fantastic. So I do hope that they will release more tracks, because 40 does not really satisfy enough. I hope that it's not just a one-off thing. They can say they've done the VR component and move on. I hope they do release the other 200 odd tracks if possible, or at least the highlights one, and I'll be a happy man. And as I kind of mentioned before, I think if they release the more VR track as DLC, not just 40 more, but if they give a substantial amount and charge people for it, I'm sure there will be people that are willing to pay for it. Just with the 40 that we've been driving through, if they do release 200 for a reasonable price, I'll snap it up straight away. I want to play more tracks in VR. So we come to the end of another Dad's Play Let's Play First Play. So if you guys have any questions or comments, please comment on the video below. And please let me know if there's certain games that you want me to run through as a first play, or if you had enough of PSVR and want me to go back to 360 videos. Please let me know too, because I'm trying to juggle my time between all the PSVR release and all the new games release, as well as the 360 videos with the 360 gear and the Nikon key mission, which I'm doing a few videos as I'm talking, if that's possible. So thank you so much for watching, and it's Warren here from Overexposed 360. I'll leave you with my favourite track in TrackMania and my best time on it. It's actually quite an early track in the game, so if you actually play it, I think it's the 9th track in the game. It's probably one of my favourites, so I hope you enjoy it. So until next time, it's Warren here from Overexposed 360, and I'll catch you in the next video.